From the Ticats Audio Network, this is Ticats Today with Braden Neville.
On today's episode, Ticats GM Ed Hervey speaks at the annual winter meetings in Nashville, and he discusses pending free agents, solidifying the O-line, Levi Mitchell, and much, much more. It's Tuesday, January 9th, 2024, and you're listening to Ticats Today. Winter meetings continue today with all 9 CFL GMs meeting with members of the CFL media, and Ticats' newly appointed GM Ed Hervey was there, and he addressed a lot today, including some pending free agents for the Ticats, Levi Mitchell returning, and tons more. An extremely busy time for a CFL GM right now. Pretty much will be that way until we return to training camp, but Ed Hervey is no stranger to this. It's his third time at the helm of a CFL team, so he's a vet at this point. And during today's meetings, he discussed his plans for the offseason and how his first month has gone as GM of the Ticats.
Very busy, as you can imagine, obviously, with the terms of some of the staff. We were trying to make sure that we had staff in place, internal as well as working toward getting the coaching staff together. Still a process that we're working on, but it's kind of an old routine, just dusting off the old cobwebs and getting everything going. I think it's been quite exciting for myself, and obviously having a chance to lead some of the meetings here and talk with our staff that is in place. It's just been busy, but really excited about what's ahead. I think that we're always learning. I think that the beauty about an opportunity, I feel blessed to have an opportunity once again. I'm really excited about that, but I think a lot of it has to do with just continuing to listen, right, and to with meetings and being able to have healthy dialogue in those meetings with not only the personnel staff, but the coaching staff, as well as everybody collectively, and being able to mediate those meetings and, make sure that they don't get out of hand, but people are able to get their point across with respect to having what we call lively debate, because those kind of discussions allow for teams to, for us to have the kind of success that we're looking for. And I think when you ask me what have I learned, I would say one bit is that I've been able to, listen more and less reaction to things that, sometimes it don't make sense in the moment, but being able to gather more information on that. And I get that's just being human. But again, I see that as a positive, and I'm just excited about the opportunity to have a chance to put that to work this time around.
We will return to Ed in a moment. The area that the team wasted no time addressing was the O-line, re-signing Brandon Revenberg, Coulter Wood-Manzi, Brandon Kemp, Jacob Zott, and Hervey spoke about the importance of having a strong front on that offense and addressed a couple of other players that could still be to come.
Yeah, I think that, again, the priority for us was to ensure that we're winning our game's going to be won and lost at the line of scrimmage. And we felt that getting Rev back and Wood-Manzi back into the lineup was extremely important to us. We want to be physical at the line of scrimmage, but we also believe that protecting our quarterback and being able to run the football is important. And, with respect to offensive line play and those two gentlemen in particular, those were priority signings for this organization, regardless of who was in place at the general manager position. I believe that, the unfortunate part of football is the injuries. And as you know, the players who are rewarded salary-wise, contract-wise, and there's a high expectation that comes with that. Sometimes guys don't meet it, whether they play poorly, and then there's other times where guys get bit by the injury bug. And this was one of those cases where we had a few players that were bitten by injury that really hurt what we were hoping that we could accomplish. With that being said, I've always had a tremendous amount of respect for Joel, and that hasn't changed. And we feel like if he's a very important part of what we're doing, and we love what he brings to the table. And if he's healthy, we're a much stronger offensive line. I think that with Jordan, I think there's, we're in discussions with him, and we'd love to see him back. Our hope is that we can work something out and get him back in the fold. I'm not sure about what's going on with Riley. I think he's going to explore and see what's out there. And then obviously, we have a couple of other young guys that we're looking at in our department that we believe can come in and compete. So yeah, obviously the offensive line is a high priority for us with respect to not only the guys who are slated as the starters, but also depth-wise. We want to be able to have the kind of depth that in the event that we do have injuries and, they're just a part of the game, that we're able to, be just as effective offensively when guys are filling in.
That was Ed Hervey. The O-line is certainly shaping up nicely. The big topic around these meetings has been Levi Mitchell, the new contract structure, and GM Ed Hervey addressed that along with giving some input on the futures of Taylor Powell and Matthew Schultz.
I think with respect to Bo, I think we all know what Bo is capable of and has shown throughout his career. And I think the other side of it is that ensuring that we're able to surround Bo with the kind of players that can help bring this team success. His willingness to work with us obviously shows that he's put has winning on his mind. And I think for us on our end, I think it gives us a chance to to be competitive in the open market, and also allows us to keep free agents that in-house. So I think it's working together is how these things come to fruition. And I think he should be, even though restructurings are never fun conversations to have, and they're obviously never enjoyable for the players, but I think when you look at the long-term vision of what we're trying to accomplish, and I think his years of being in this league and understanding that showed well in those negotiations. Bo's resume speaks for itself, but when you look at the last several years, you can argue that the numbers haven't been quite the same. But in watching him practice and knowing what he's capable of doing, now it's going to require Bo to make some changes to what he does, but I don't think it's going to be a point to where it's a forced change, nor do I think it's going to be something that he can't do. But I believe in this system, and Scott Milanovic has a proven track record. I think if you look back a few years ago, I think people thought Anthony Cavillo's career was down, and then when Scott and Tressman and those guys got with AC, that things changed, right? And then all of a sudden he just he finished very strong. We feel the same way about Bo as well. So it's really about his health, the conditioning that he comes into training camp with, and just basically surrounding him with players that can help, not only make plays for him, but protect him and defensively get him the ball back. We feel like, if it's a point where he's, managing the game at times, relying on the players around him, we feel that he gives us, just a great chance at winning as anyone else would have when we looked at who else was available to us. Well, Taylor has played a lot of football, and we really, believe in Taylor. And obviously, Matt has done an excellent job for us, and he's someone that the organization respects and really likes. We've just started talking about the rest of the roster. Those conversations are ongoing. I could say, you never say never. We're very familiar with Matt. We're in constant communication with his agent and discussing things with respect to what the future holds. Obviously, Matt, there's a decision for Matt to make as well, right? Because there's going to be plenty of opportunities out there for him. And I know that Matt, has desires to also compete and put himself in position to be a starter. And that is something that he has earned the right to do and look for. So given that, anything is possible, but he's definitely going to take a look at the landscape and see what's best for him and his career.
That was Ed Hervey on the Ticats QBs. Much like every other team in the CFL right now, there are lots of pending free agents for the Cats. Simone Lawrence, Tim White, and Terry Godwin are a few names, and Ed Hervey addressed how discussions have gone with those guys so far.
I think the priorities for us is to be more diligent in the type of players that we want. I think we want to be more dynamic in areas on the field, position wise. I think we want to be more physical as a football team. I think when we look around, I think we at the league and we see how things are changing, and we look at where we are and where we have been and where we could actually go. We think there's room for improvement. And for myself personally, I mean, I look at that and think that if we're more dynamic, more athletic, obviously youth is going to play a big part in that. And obviously, be able to start fast coming out of training camp. I think with that, we can have success. But we just need to be. I'm looking at more physicality from our football team, and just being more playmakers. In the receiving corps. I think that's something that we're looking at as well. There's a list of things that I can rattle off, but just for time and stuff, I don't want to get too detailed on that. But we do have a vision and a plan, and it's going to help us, equate to more wins and hopefully success down the line. Again, Terry is a very good receiver with tremendous upside. He's a player that makes things look easy at times. Likable, as he's shown flashes of the ability to make plays. Obviously we've had some talks with his agent as well, and I know the feelings from his side is that he'd like to return as well. As we proceed with our process, it's where does he fit? Is he in the right position on the field? And should he be more inside? There's a lot of conversation that goes into that, but he's been very productive for us, well liked, and there's a lot of upside there. But to make a commitment at this juncture would be premature. But definitely someone that's high on the list of priority for discussion before we move forward. I speak to all the agents of the free agents. We kind of talk. I think with respect to Tim, he knows how we feel. I think Tim feels the same way about the organization. Haven't heard anything negative thus far. The talks have been very positive as far as the communication that we have had. But I think that those talks will continue on, and as we get closer to communication week and free agency, I would expect that the discussions will heat up and we'll come to a conclusion as to what we're going to do and what his decisions are. And we'll see. We'll go from there. I think I think the feelings are mutual. We'd love to have him back, and from my understanding, he'd love to be back. We just haven't got to the point where we discussed numbers because they're kind of waiting around for on their timeline. There's always room for veteran players on your team, and I think with respect to everything, when we're looking at our roster and we're looking at moving forward, I'm more so, I just look at every player the same way, whether, how they can help the roster, right? And I think that's what's important. And then the fact that, we haven't had much success the last couple of years with respect to record-wise, we have to look at everything. We haven't gotten into the full details of discussing our personnel to the level of what we're doing with guys or where guys are as far as returning. But, when we look at the roster, we have to look at it objectively and make determinations as to, what players look like on the field as well. And I think that's kind of important. And I know I know that's probably not the answer you're looking for, but, in all fairness to the fans who are expecting us to have success, we have to look at our roster as a whole and make determinations, and from there we'll have a chance to really decide what this team's going to look like moving forward. And there is a place for veteran presence and all those things, but I just know that also there's an expectation that comes with how we look when we hit the field, and I think that's a big conversation for myself, the coaching staff, in Orlando, as moving forward. I think at this point, it's we're just in discussions. I think a lot of stuff is still up for conversation. That's not something that I can say yes or no to. I think the reality is that we're just in the early process of discussing what our roster is going to look like and how we want to build this football team.
That was Ed Hervey during the final day of winter meetings for the coaches and GMs of the CFL in sunny Nashville. Far from sunny here in Hamilton. As I look out my window, I just see an absolute blizzard going through, but things are heating up a bit around the league with teams looking to make their splash, whether that be through re-signing guys or with the upcoming free agent market in February. I'll be keeping you posted all off-season long with everything Ticats, so be sure to keep tuning in to these off-season episodes for all the updates. That's all the time for me today. I want to thank you for listening to Ticats Today.